Rob Van Dam, listen to True Hill Heat. Pow. What's up, True Hill Heat? True Hill Heat. What's up? True Hill Heat. All hands is on me.
Yo, what up? You know what it is. It's your boy AJ Francis reporting to you live from New York City, the birthplace of hip-hop. And I'm telling you that I'm only tuned in with True Hill Heat Wrestling. Holla at me.
Hello, hello, hello. It is me, your True Hill Phenom, SP3. We are live on the True Hill Heat YouTube and Facebook for our WWE SummerSlam 2024 preview. And I am joined by a very special guest for the first time in over a year. It's been too long. You see her work written and podcasts on A Wrestling Gal, as well as WrestleZone.com. The one and only Ella J is back. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic, SP3. How are you?
I am doing well. It's been a crazy day, but I am doing well nonetheless.
Oh, it surely has.
But yes, we are very excited because this Saturday is one of the biggest events of the year, WWE SummerSlam. Ella J is getting ready, or quote unquote getting ready, almost ready for Cleveland, Ohio this weekend, this Saturday. She's going to be there live to witness everything that goes down in Cleveland Brown Stadium. So we're very excited to have her on today, but we're also excited to have all of you join us live here on the True Hill Heat YouTube channel. If you're watching on demand, we appreciate you as well. Show that appreciation back. Simplest way possible is by dropping the thumbs up on this video. You can share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. And if you're new to the True Hill Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified here, and of course, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you. Hear your predictions for this Saturday's WWE SummerSlam 2024 in Cleveland, Ohio. But if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, and you want to have your comment read on screen, you can send a super chat donation. But Ella J, we always like to gauge how much your excitement level, since you're gonna be there live. What to 0 to 10? How are you feeling for this Saturday SummerSlam?
I would put it at an 8 because there's some things that I think should have happened. Now, granted, Fightful, if you've seen Fightful's report, there's still additions/alterations that can be made to the SummerSlam card. So that's maybe cranked it up to about an 8.5. You know, there's certain matches or people that I wanted involved on this card. There's certain matches where the build has been kind of meh, but the match itself is really good. So I would put myself at a solid 8. And I'm going to be there in person. So maybe 8.5, depending.
Well, I always say I give one score now at the beginning, but after we talk about the matches, maybe I bump it up by like a half a point. So you can stay at 8, and then we can confirm if it's 8.5 by the end of the preview. How does that sound?
That sounds good with me.
But yeah, I was looking at the card, I was uploading the visuals, the graphics for all the matches, and I was like, man, this feels like the first time in a while that the SummerSlam card had a good amount of build to all the matches. I feel like all these feuds or matches have kind of been in place or been the idea for about at least like 2 to 3 months for all of these matches. So it is kind of a nice change of pace. I was kind of at because Raw kind of put me down a little bit because I feel like this past week SmackDown and this past week Raw was very much Triple H coasting, where he's like, "Oh man, I'm good. I already did all the building for SummerSlam. I don't need to do much here."
Yeah,
But
it was a bit of filler content. I mean, especially with the opening segment on Raw, there was really no progression in that at all. Like, and they couldn't fight each other because of the stipulation where the match would be canceled. So it's like that was 20 minutes of my time that, like, I don't want to say it was wasted, but it was kind of wasted. Needless to say, I am still excited for the match though. But they could have done they could have done something. I feel like.
Because in my eyes, before Raw, I was like, that's the match I'm most interested in.
Yeah, of
and
course.
Then I was even looking forward to the segment, and it just felt like Punk's energy wasn't there. Drew was the best, but he wasn't even at his like top form.
Mhm.
And then Seth kind of, I like Seth's involvement in this. It's kind of, I've been seeing this really polarizing to some fans. Some people feel like he doesn't fit in. I feel like the story they've told, he does fit into it, but with the character that he's playing, it doesn't fit into the bitter rivalry that is going on. And I don't always get the hatred part over of him hating both guys. I don't think it's equal. I think he should be hating one guy, but he doesn't have much to hate the other.
I think a lot of it too is, what is Seth Rollins going to wear? What's his ref outfit going to look like? That's another point that I am looking forward to. What is he going to wear?
But that's another point to this, is that two of the top matches, that match, you're saying you're looking forward to what Seth's gonna wear. That doesn't sound like the match itself. But
no, I am excited as well for the match itself. Of course, that's Punk coming back, but I'm just saying that's another layer to it that I'm looking forward to. It's just this segment there was just like, didn't really increase anything for me. I'm already excited for it, but I could be like ultra excited if that opening segment, had gone a little bit different.
Yeah, and then they put the foot off the gas with the Liv and Rhea part of it. They just gave them like the little promos, which were good, but I feel like there's other matches that they've really done a great job on in the last couple of weeks, especially like Gunther and Damian Priest. They've really made me interested in that matchup more than I was before, but we're going to get into everything. We already got in the chat with us today. Seth here. Good to see you. We also got Hassan, who says, hi there, guys. Hi there, Ella J. He says, I like your hair, Ella J.
Yeah, this is my first blonde live stream since I've gotten my hair done. So I guess this is the official debut.
Look at that. I got to give you the solo spotlight so you can show it off for the people a little bit. You got to show it. You got to show it.
Getting used to it. Getting used to it.
We also got Jamie Williams in the chat, says, I'm ready for SummerSlam. I'm ready for it too. I will say for right now, I'm at like a 7. I can even bump it up to an 8 by the end of this preview though. But let's get into the matches. Speaking of Monday Night Raw, we'll start off with the Intercontinental Championship, which will be up for grabs. You got Sami Zayn will be defending against Braun Breaker. It was following Clash at the Castle that Braun Breaker made his intentions known that his path of destruction was going to go through Sami Zayn, and he wanted the Intercontinental Championship. He faced Sami Zayn at Money in the Bank, coming up just short against Sami because he underestimated him, thought that he would run through Sami like he ran through the rest of the Raw roster so far, but Sami picked up the victory. Braun's first pinfall loss since being drafted to Monday Night Raw, but that did not deter him too much. He attacked Sami following Money in the Bank, and then he defeated Ilya Dragunov on last week's Monday Night Raw to become the #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship. He's been laying out Sami with spear upon spear over the last couple of weeks, but Sami finally got the better of him on Monday Night Raw, taking him out, almost giving him the Aluva kick before Braun bailed, but then clotheslining over the top rope and raising the title. Now, when we did the preview here for Money in the Bank, I was like adamant. I was like, Braun Breaker needs to win. I was saying that. Braun Breaker needed to win. He needed to win the Intercontinental Championship. But I understand that's not the Triple H way. Triple H likes to slow burn it. And this is a bigger show for Braun to get the opportunity. And because Sami stood tall on the Go Home show, I'm definitely going with Braun Breaker here. What about you? What have you thought about the build? Who do you think wins?
Yeah, that was my philosophy into Money in the Bank. People were like, Braun Breaker is going to for sure win the title. I was like, Yes, but not on the platform of Money in the Bank. Sami Zayn has now had a solid run. He's proven that his win at WrestleMania against Gunther wasn't a fluke, so now he's had a decent reign in here. But, you're all about elevating the next stars, and Money in the Bank, it's a stage, but it's more so into the Money in the Bank ladder matches. So I don't feel like any title changes would have really been elevated. I feel like they would be more beneficial to do it on a bigger stage like a SummerSlam, hence why I didn't think were going to do it at Money in the Bank, but I think they are going to do it here at SummerSlam. And so I'm also predicting and new Intercontinental Championship. Braun Breaker is going to take that home, I believe, here as well.
Yes, it seems like this is the time, and I agree with you. It did kind of solidify that Sammy is a champion. He's no longer the underdog. I like the promo that he did following Money in the Bank as well, because that crowd was like, yo, put some respect on my name. Y'all thought Chad Gable was going to beat me. Y'all thought Braun Breaker was going to beat me, but I beat the both.
I still think Chad should have won it at it would have been Clash at the Castle. I still think Chad should have won it there, personally, but obviously the path now has led him down to the Wyatt 6. So at least he has a substantial storyline going on it, even if he doesn't have a title right now. So I'm okay with that.
Yes, indeed. We got I Make Beats, one of our Patreon backers in the chat. Appreciate you, I Make Beats. He says, don't forget me when you are rich and famous. We never forget our Patreon backers. We also got Hassan, who says, your hair is amazing, Ella J.
Thank you.
Got the vote of approval from Hassan. And I Make Beats says, I hope Ilya wins IC soon. He is a boss. I think that will be one of Braun's main rivals when he becomes the Intercontinental Champion. Because him and Ilya Dragunov have faced like a million times, and I never get bored with it myself.
I still think Ilya should have been drafted to SmackDown. I don't think him and Gunther should have been on the same brands. I still believe one of them should have been drafted to SmackDown personally. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully they run that match back between Ilya and Gunther to eventually, maybe for the World Heavyweight Championship. Spoiler alert. Bash in Berlin is right around the corner, so
I'm just saying. I've been calling for that. I was like, man, get Ilya up to the main event so he can face Gunther at Bash in Berlin. I'm with you. We here. But on the other side of the spectrum, over on SmackDown, you got the hometown favorite, Cleveland, Ohio's own Logan Paul, the United States champion, will defend against LA Knight. Yeah. This rivalry has been going on for the last couple of months, but really kickstarted last year when both men were in the Money in the Bank ladder match, and they had a very entertaining promo exchange with one another. But LA Knight has been targeting the United States Championship since pretty much right after WrestleMania, and really called out Logan Paul back in June, saying that he was coming for the US Championship after beating Carmelo Hayes. He then faced Logan Paul as well as Santos Escobar in a Money in the Bank qualifier before that show, and he pinned Logan Paul, which is getting him this opportunity here. Logan Paul feels that LA Knight is beneath him, that he's just a mid-carder, that he hasn't accomplished anything in his career, while Logan Paul is the real megastar. And LA Knight did admit that he went to the bathroom in Logan Paul's pool. So that means it's personal. LJ, what do you thought about the build to this matchup? Who you got winning?
This should have been the match at WrestleMania. I've said that before WrestleMania, that it should have been LA, even it could have been Kevin Owens could have been involved too. I said this ahead of WrestleMania. It should have been LA Knight and Logan Paul. And then if you wanted to make it a triple threat, Kevin Owens can stay in there too. And then Orton can just face Styles again. That's the way I thought WrestleMania should have gone. Obviously, that was not the case, as literally all of the champions, except for Logan Paul and the women's tag team champions, headed out of WrestleMania without their titles. So it makes sense why they didn't, because everybody else was getting new titles, So if you're not going to do it at WrestleMania, SummerSlam is the stage to do it. It's the second biggest stage of WWE's PLE events per year. So if it's not going to be WrestleMania, it is LA Knight's time to finally get his main roster singles title in WWE. Actually, his first main roster title, period. This is the time to do it. Logan Paul, Logan Paul floats between, United States, but he's also gone up to Cody's level and before. So maybe after this, they run Cody back. I don't know. There's a lot of non-title feuds you can do with Logan Paul. And so I think it's just LA Knight's time. Again, he's been such a crowd favorite, but if you don't put the title on him, the people have a propensity to turn on people if you wait too long. And so I don't know how much longer you can hold out on LA Knight's really proper push. So now is the time to capitalize again, or else you risk the people kind of wearing down steam with LA Knight's push. So this is the time and place to do it.
Yeah, it really feels like if he doesn't win here, you run the risk of the fans like giving up on him and being like, "Yeah, you're fine. We love the catchphrase, but we don't believe that you're gonna be a champion anymore."
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to agree with you again, and I'm gonna have to go with LA Knight. I am slightly like I'm not as sure as I am with Braun Breaker. Like I'm 100% sure Braun Breaker should and will walk out as Intercontinental Champion. But WWE is not the WWE of old, where if you're in your hometown, you lose. More often than not, if you're in your hometown, you're going to win. So there is the chance that Logan Paul could retain the United States Championship here. But I'm in full agreement that you're at the point of no return for LA Knight, and LA Knight should win.
I think also, too, because this is technically a match they could have run at Money in the Bank. It was already set up before then. They specifically chose not to run it at Money in the Bank. So I think the reason it's the fact that it's on SummerSlam is even more kind of evidence, at least to us, that LA Knight is going to be walking out with the United States Championship.
1000% agree. We got a bunch of people who saying LA Knight in the chat. Yeah. We got I Make B says it's almost already too late, but I love LA Knight. So either way, yes, you got to crown the man, give him some love. So we're both going for LA Knight there. But next up, we got the WWE Women's Championship will be up for grabs as the Queen of the Ring, Nia Jax, will challenge Bayley. Bayley, of course, won the championship back at WrestleMania 40, defeating Io Sky. She's gone through the likes of Naomi and Tiffany Stratton, as well as Piper Niven, defending her title against all comers. But it was Nia Jax who won the Queen of the Ring tournament, defeating Lyra Valkyria in my favorite finish of the whole year, when she squashed the spine and pelvis area of Lyra Valkyria, becoming the Queen of the Ring. In the midst of after becoming the queen, she got this budding friendship with Tiffany Stratton, who went on to become Miss Money in the Bank. And the rivalry leading up to this, the build leading up to this, has featured Tiffany Stratton a lot, has also featured Michin. But really, kind of the juice of this rivalry really came in that sit-down interview that they did, where Bayley kind of talked about their past meetings in NXT, the fact that Nia Jax took her out of action before she was supposed to get her redemption against Alexa Bliss back in 2017 and injured her, so she couldn't compete at SummerSlam 7 years ago. And now Bayley is saying that Nia Jax, the reason she injured her is because she's big, she's clumsy, and she's reckless, which you could tell really got under Nia Jax's skin. And Bayley has gotten the better of Nia Jax on a couple of occasions, but Nia pinned Bayley in the tag team matchup with Michin and Tiffany Stratton last Friday on SmackDown. What have you thought about the build to this matchup, and who do you have winning?
Other than the kind of body-related comments, I've been really enjoying this build to this. And again, I was one who was never really a Nia Jax fan in her first run, but ever since returning, like, I think she, out of all of the women, may have had the best kind of character build and consistency on the main roster since returning last year. And that's a lot coming from me, because I was never really a fan of hers, but I've been really enjoying her return. It's been almost a year at this point. I've been really enjoying it. And also the dynamic of Tiffany could cash in potentially, but then also she's kind of friends with Nia Jax. So does she screw over her new friend? Should she win the women's championship? That's also another layer to this. I've seen some funny theories floating around on social media that I kind of hope happen. I think one of them was because, since Tiffany's current briefcase is dented and all of that, that there's a theory that Nia Jax could slip out the contract and Tiffany goes to cash it in and then wins it, but then afterwards it's revealed that there's no contract inside, so therefore it's null and void. I thought that would have been really funny, and Tiffany and Nia could absolutely pull it off. But I don't think now is the time for Tiffany to cash in, nor is it time for Nia Jax women's championship reign. I think I have a few title changes happening on this card. Actually, I think half of them. Do I have half? Yeah, I have half and half title changes, half and half title retentions here. This is one of the matches I think Bayley is going to be retaining. You know, she worked her butt off to finally get a championship for the first time in 4 years after, you know, hustling and putting everybody over. I think she's going to get hopefully a reign at least into Survivor Series. She deserves a nice and lengthy reign. I don't think it'll be the same length as her what was it, 380 something day reign it was before. I don't think it'd be to that length, but you know, like a 7-8 month reign into Survivor Series, I think will be nice for her. It's not time for Bayley to lose yet, in my mind.
I've been calling for one finish and one finish early since this whole thing started, since before Money in the Bank. I think that ever since Nia and Bayley got announced for SummerSlam, I've been calling for this, and I'm going to stay on track. Nia's going to beat the hell out of Bayley, be on the verge of victory. She's going to have her out, about to go for the Annihilator. And then Tiffany comes out, hit her with the briefcase. Nia goes out of the ring. She cashes in and pins Bayley. She lets Nia do all the work, cashes in, and becomes our new WWE Women's Champion. I think that Tiffany Stratton is the winner of Nia Jax versus Bayley.
We deserve that Tiffany bedazzled briefcase, though, and we haven't had it yet, SP3. We deserve it.
That's the only thing that stops me from really believing this. Like,
that's what is stopping me from believing it. We need that bedazzled pink briefcase, and we have not seen it at all. And if we're going to see it, she's going to want to show it off. It's not just going to be when she goes to cash it in. She needs to show it off.
That is fair. So if I have to pick between Nia and Bayley, I gotta go with Nia. I 100% agree with you, and I've always been a Nia Jax fan because I loved. She's not like most girls. That's like That's like top 5 CFO theme songs in my opinion.
Yeah,
because I love it. I love going to the shows and singing it and making people uncomfortable because I'm saying I'm not like most girls. But I've always been a fan of
Sexy Boy. So like I feel you.
We're here. We are so here. But I really want to say, like, she has improved so much since returning to WWE. And I've said it once, I'll say it again. She's the best re-signing of the Triple H era. It's between her and Chelsea Green.
I was going to say.
Yeah, it's those two. It's those two. But I feel like Chelsea Green has picked up more steam in the last couple of months, whereas Nia, since she came back, they have established her as the monster of the division. They've built her up well, and she's delivered, whether it was good to great matches with Becky Lynch. She's had good matches with pretty much all of the roster. The Lyra Valkyria finish, like I said, is my favorite finish of the whole entire year. Just killing her with the Annihilator. I need Nia Jax to get rewarded like that. She won the Queen of the Ring. Now she needs to win the WWE Women's Championship. And I'd be fine with that. If Tiffany's not going to cash in, I'd be fine with Nia winning. And then she's already set up on SmackDown last week that she's the one that's going to be giving Tiffany the new briefcase. She said, I got a briefcase that would fit you very well. And it would be the scenario that I wish they would have done last year, with Finn Balor winning the World Heavyweight Championship and being in the same group as Mr. Money in the Bank, Damian Priest, where this time you have it on the female side of Nia Jax being the WWE Women's Champion and her best friend is Miss Money in the Bank. That is a great scenario where the Money in the Bank contract winner is basically always behind the champion. So you don't know when she's going to cash in and turn her back on her. I think that's a great story to tell that they never told with the Money in the Bank.
It's possible, very possible.
And I'm sorry. I appreciate the fact that they have given Bayley more TV time than she did before. But after WrestleMania, they went like a good 2 months where she would randomly pop up, and I'd be like,
that's true.
Yeah, Bayley is the women's champion. That's right. That's right. Y'all made me forget that Bayley won the women's. She had one of the best matches at WrestleMania, and they just basically forgot about her for like a 2-month period. It was ridiculous.
That's because they were alternating too with the women's championship title defenses. This is the first time since WrestleMania that both titles are on the line on the same pay-per-view. So
yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right there. We got Chilling with Jay says no odds on Tiffy cashing in, which is weird. Yeah, they're making it out of sight, out of mind because they're gonna pull the trigger. I'm telling you. I'm going with Naya if I had to pick between the two, but I really want them to do my booking with Tiffy. But speaking of which, he said both women's championships will be up for grabs. So let's talk about one of the most anticipated matches of the show. It's going to be Liv Morgan defending the WWE Women's World Championship against her arch nemesis, the returning Rhea Ripley. This will be Rhea Ripley's first official match back in the ring since she defeated Becky Lynch back at WrestleMania 40. Just the Monday after that, Liv Morgan attacked her backstage, injuring her shoulder, which led to Rhea Ripley having to relinquish the WWE Women's World Championship. But this was really a part of the Liv Morgan revenge tour that started when she made her return at Elimination Chamber in the Elimination Chamber matchup after Rhea injured her shoulder last summer in 2023. She's been looking for revenge, and she got it by taking out Rhea Ripley. But the Liv Morgan revenge tour didn't stop there. She then went on to basically try to seduce the Judgment Day and, more importantly, Dominic Mysterio after defeating Becky Lynch for the WWE Women's World Championship due to quote-unquote accident by Dominic Mysterio on 2 occasions. Liv planted a big lip lock that went viral all across the world on Dominic Mysterio. She started sending gifts to the Judgment Day like a PS5, WWE 2K. She was giving Dominic all the chicken nuggies and tendies that he wanted. And even she got him a crucial win for the first time in his career. He pinned his father, WWE Hall of Famer Rey Mysterio, in tag team action with Liv by his side, which led to them having a very sensual celebration. But then Rhea Ripley came out and interrupted things, and she has been not too happy with either Liv or Dirty Dom since then. She made the challenge for SummerSlam to get her title back, to get her property back, but she also wanted to firm up her relationship with Dom and let Dom know that he is hers and she doesn't belong to him. He belongs to her. And Dom proved that by breaking the heart of poor Liv Morgan, telling her that he wants her to stay out of his life and he hates her. But I'm sorry, I've seen way too many reality shows to believe that. That's like the guy who gets caught on cheaters and tells his girlfriend, "Oh, I never even liked her. I was just because you weren't paying me attention. You weren't treating me right. But I hate her. I want her out of my life. I don't believe you, Dom. I don't believe you, Liv burning stuff, ruining the Judgment Day clubhouse. How did she get into the clubhouse? Dominic let her in.
Could be somebody else too."
Yeah, Finn. I'm just saying, there's a lot of mystery and intrigue into this story. This story has been one of the best storylines going into SummerSlam. What have you thought about the build? Who do you think wins on Saturday?
Well, I mean, you were having so much fun recapping that. I just want to say I could hear that in your voice. You know, this has obviously been one of the most longest burning, builds to it. Rhea coming back, she was so unstoppable, and Liv is actually the last person to pin Rhea, actually pin her, which was over 2 years ago now. I think it's gonna happen again. I don't think it's gonna be clean. Rhea coming back, she hasn't wrestled since WrestleMania, so it's been 4 months since she's wrestled. You could go the easy route. Rhea comes back after Liv took her out and she gets her own retribution, her own revenge, but that's too easy. This whole storyline has been based on drama. And what bigger drama would there be either with it being a ruse between Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio in cahoots? He says he hates her, but does he really? So it could either be that where Dominic helps Liv win, or like a lot of people have been theorizing, Finn Balor we've seen in the background in cahoots with Liv having conversations. So it could either be Finn Balor siding with Rhea or Finn Balor siding with Liv or Dominic siding with Liv. Either way, though, I think there's a very good chance Liv Morgan walks out and with the WWE Women's World Championship in hand, either by the help of Dominic or Finn, and I think that's what's going to happen. It's too easy to just let Rhea win it right back off the bat. We need some more drama, some more layers, whether it's Dominic actually truly aligned with Liv or Finn turns on Rhea and then Judgment Day. I don't know. It could go either way, but either scenario I see playing out.
So if you had to put your money on it, what scenario do you think it would be? Do you think Finn comes out and helps Liv, or do you think Dom intentionally helps Liv? Because he's helped Liv on multiple occasions and it's all been accidents. So do you think that he shows his allegiance to Liv over Rhea and finally turns on Rhea here?
I think it'd be Finn, because why else? They're so subtle, but what would be the purpose of showing the camera of him and Liv having conversations in the background of Raw if it wasn't going to play some significant thing? Like, it was like a little Easter egg. Granted, it could be a red herring and it could be meaningless, but why else would you put it in the background if something wasn't going to develop? We've been following these Easter eggs. I think it makes sense for Finn too, and then afterwards it can reveal the whole time they've been in cahoots and whatever. But I think the bigger wow factor would be Finn Balor. I personally would go that route. I think it would have more shock value.
I think that Dom finally shows his true love because Rhea Ripley has been emasculating him for 2 years. She beat his ass when he was with his dad, and that's how he got into the Judgment Day, because she beat him so much that he became her sub. And
so Dom turns into a Dom? Okay.
Dirty Dom becomes Daddy Dom in front of our eyes, and I think that he shows his allegiance to Liv Morgan. Like, he has a steel chair, and he's about to hand it to Rhea. Rhea gets her hand on it, but he holds on to it, and she's like, what? And then Liv bounces her head off the steel chair, hits Oblivion 1, 2, 3 to pick up the victory here. I think that we need to have the Christian and Trish Stratus moment on the stage of Rhea playing the role of Chris Jericho and watching Dom and Liv make out in front of her eyes as Liv retains the WWE Women's World Championship.
I'm okay with that. I can see either scenario. I feel confident that one of those scenarios is going to lead to Liv retaining, or they could just go the obvious route and have Rhea continue her dominant ways, but that's not satisfying. That's just that's safe, and this is not a storyline that has been safe at all.
Not at all. They've been very risque, whether it be the stuff that Liv's been wearing, the stuff that Liv's been doing. And man, I said this when they were teasing Liv Morgan going heel. She is so much better as a heel than she was.
Yeah, I agree.
There was so much of a ceiling on her as the underdog babyface, and she's completely shattered that ceiling as the seductress heel. She is just playing her role to perfection. She finally feels like a main event star in this company. This has done a lot for her. And I've been giving credit to my guy, Dominic Mysterio, the star maker. Because Rhea Ripley has always had star potential, but her star power went through the roof when she aligned with Dominic Mysterio, when she was the key factor to bring Dom into Judgment Day. And now Dom has kind of worked that same magic with Liv. So Dom Mysterio is a star maker. I'm convinced of that. So Dom and Liv, I think that with the Finn part of it, I do think that it is going to play a role, but I think they're going to wait till after SummerSlam where it plays a role, where Rhea and maybe someone else from the Judgment Day lose on this show, and then it's going to be okay, we got to have a Judgment Day meeting in the ring. We got to figure out what Dom's doing, why Dom turned on Rhea, because I feel like the more impactful thing is for Finn to turn on Priest than it is for Finn to turn on Rhea.
That's fair.
We got a super chat donation from the good brother Will Chisholm. Thank you so much, Will. He says, not on topic, but when Julia, Stephanie Becker, and Delta of course or come to NXT, who will get called up first and how long? I think out of the three, I would probably lean towards, even though I like Julia the most out of the three, I think that Stephanie Becker seems more ready. And the fact that they've given her, even though it was in Mexico, in our home, like where she's pretty much made a name for herself, the fact that they had her beat a main roster talent, I think says a lot. And I think that they feel like she's the most polished and the most ready to get that call up. What do you think?
See, I was leaning Julia. But like one of them, I feel like one of them is going to go after either the NXT Women's Championship or the North American Championship. I think I have to go with Julia because I feel like she has the bigger heading in. I feel like she's the bigger stock to her name. But Stephanie also coming in, getting a victory over Isla Dawn, who's a current champion, is also a huge sign as well. And it's also going to be interesting to see. It depends though too how Delta is booked though too. I think I have to go with Julia.
That's fair. Julia, I would say out of the three is like the bigger name, the bigger star coming into NXT. I just that like you said, her beating Isla Dawn, I think was a big statement to say where the company views Stephanie Becker and the fact that they stole her from underneath AEW's nose. They're gonna want to kind of speed this process up a little bit with her. But we got another super chat donation from Will Chisholm. Thank you so much, Will, as always. He says, if you notice that Judgment Day Faces was all crossed out by but Finn when Liv did her little burning of all the items from the Judgment Day clubhouse. Finn is really trying to get that Prince swagger back in his eyes. And I also think that the main event of Raw this week, with him losing to Gunther and him feeling like Rhea and Priest didn't believe in him, I think that is also going to play into his eventual turn as well.
I feel like Priest has also been kind of going off on his own. He's had it's kind of more babyface attitude. Once he won it, he was like, I want it to be a workhorse title, So he's been a little bit more honorable in comparison to like Finn and JD, who are still up to their old, underhanded tactics. So I think it is just a matter of time before Judgment Day implodes, whether it's Finn turning on, Damian just going off on his own, Finn turning on Rhea, Dominic turning on Rhea. I feel like Judgment Day, they're counting their days. They're counting down their days as a faction.
Counting down their days to
Judgment. Exactly. There's so many ways they could go with this.
Indeed. I did like this comment too. Alex Powell says, Rhea is the villain in the story, aka just Daniel LaRusso, like was in the Karate Kid, and not Johnny, who was the real hero, pal. I did not know that until Cobra Kai season 1, that Johnny Lawrence was the real hero of Karate Kid. But you are absolutely right, Alex Powell. We got I Make Beast. He says, did you review NXT Great American Bash? I've been working today, not had my YouTube fix. I believe that Chris G is going to do a short on NXT Great American Bash, but it was a good show. I really liked the Roxanne Perez and Thea Hale matchup that they
Stephanie didn't show up afterwards.
Yeah. I think they're waiting. They're waiting to bring them all in August because Julia announced this week she's got her final match in Marigold on August 19th. So maybe either August or September, around like the fall when they're going to CW, either just before or on that premiere of CW. I think that's when all three of these girls are going to come in: Delta, Stephanie Becker, and Julia. So NXT Women's Division going to be on the up for sure. But yes, let's get into the next matchup here, and it's a big one. What many people are calling the main event for this Saturday, Ella. CM Punk going one-on-one with Drew McIntyre with Seth Rollins as special guest referee. It was at the Royal Rumble, CM Punk's first match back in WWE in almost a decade, as he was in the Royal Rumble matchup, and Drew McIntyre injured him with the Future Shock DDT. He then added insult to injury on the Raw after, saying that he prayed for this and it happened, and then attacked Punk on his way out the door to rehab from the injury. Then we fast forward to WrestleMania when it was Drew McIntyre going one-on-one with Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. Drew was finally able to defeat Seth for the gold. He had his moment with his wife, having a special moment, hugging her after working so hard to get back to the goal. But his bitter vendetta against CM Punk overshadowed all of that. He got in Punk's face enough for Punk to basically trip him up, injure his elbow, hit him with his own brace for his tricep, which led to Damian Priest cashing in the Money in the Bank and Drew McIntyre's World Heavyweight title reign only lasting 5 minutes and some seconds. Then CM Punk was drafted ahead of Drew McIntyre despite being injured in the WWE draft to Monday Night Raw. It led to Punk kind of trolling Drew for having a short title reign, but it did not stop Drew from going back after the World Heavyweight Championship in his home country of Scotland at Clash at the Castle. But CM Punk once again screwed Drew McIntyre. He didn't even get his lick back for WrestleMania, and he screwed him again in front of his family, in front of his friends. He's got a conspiracy with referees. He stole a referee shirt and screwed over Drew. Drew lost to Damian Priest in Scotland. Drew went crazy attacking referees, elbowing Adam Pearce in the head, which led to him he almost got suspended there, but that did not happen yet. As at Money in the Bank, then Drew wins the Money in the Bank contract. He told everybody he was going to cash in Money in the Bank at the show itself, and he did during Seth Rollins versus Damian Priest, with the stipulation being that if Seth did not win, he would not get another shot at the World Heavyweight Championship as long as Damian Priest was champion. Drew cashes in to make it a triple threat, and Punk screws Drew again for a third time, but in the process also screwed Seth, because Damian Priest picked up the victory. So the pre-match stipulation was that Seth would not get another shot. Seth told Punk that he's going to skip the line ahead of Drew McIntyre to get his hands on Punk, but Drew got himself suspended by attacking referees again, attacking Adam Pearce. He would not apologize to the referee until it was the last possible option. Punk was cleared from his injury to set this match up for SummerSlam, but because of his attacks on the referees, Adam Pearce signed the assignment to none other than Seth freaking Rollins to be the middleman in all of this. It's been a wild ride for the past 6 months, but it all comes to a head this Saturday at SummerSlam. What have you thought about the build to this matchup? Who do you think walks out with the win on Saturday?
I mean, it's about damn time we get this matchup. Granted, it was dependent on Punk getting cleared and stuff, but they've pretty much done everything they can do without actually, facing off in a match. Punk has gotten more physical, as time goes on, as he got closer to being cleared. They've obviously had all their verbal spats on social media and on programming. Punk has screwed Drew countless of times. We screwed him out of number one contendership, out of the titles, Money in the Bank. It's about time that we get this match. For me, Seth Rollins, he could play a part he will play a part in who wins this match. I can see it being a triple threat at some point, but considering that, one, it's Punk's official return match, two, it's his first televised singles match in WWE for the first time in a decade, I don't see a world where CM Punk loses here, personally. It could be via disqualification, or Seth could do something, but I don't see a world where Drew McIntyre pins or makes CM Punk submit here. After, all the Punk got put on the shelf and it's his first singles match back in a while. Punk should walk away here, and I think he will.
Okay. So we're going to have a difference of opinion here again. I need Drew McIntyre, who is the real hero in this story. He is the babyface. I'm sorry. We talked about the segment on Monday, but my main overall thought on that segment on Monday is like none of these people are likable. I was like, none of these people are likable to me. I was like, Punk comes off like a petulant child. He's going out of the ring. Oh, I'm just trying to protect y'all from me. I'm scared of what I would do. And you got Seth, who's acting like the big brother who gets told by his parents, oh, you're in charge while we're gone. And he's like, I'm going to make my own rules in the matchup. While Drew McIntyre is just playing the character that he's been assigned, and he plays it to a T.
I love Drew's character too.
I love Drew's character, and that's why he's the babyface. He never got his lick back for WrestleMania. When he did get his lick back for Clash at the Castle, he did it behind a garage door. We never saw him assault Punk because Punk wasn't cleared for physicality on camera. We just saw a bloody body. We don't know if Drew just found him like that. We don't know. We didn't see him. He didn't see Drew attack him. So we need Drew to finally get his lick back. He needs to get the win here and finally get a victory on a premium live event. He's been on a losing streak other than winning the Money in the Bank and then immediately losing that. He's lost too much. He can't lose here. I need my guy Drew to get the win, but I think it is going to be a callback from SummerSlam 1997. Punk is going to grab some type of weapon. Seth it takes it away from him. Seth Punk basically pushes Rollins in the face or spits at him, and Rollins swings and he hits Punk with it, and that's how Drew is going to get the victory here. I think that Seth has to find a way to screw over Punk to really get Punk as angry at Seth as Seth is angry at Punk. I think that is the key, because I think Punk versus Seth is where we're going for WrestleMania. So it'd be nice if you set the stage for that here with Seth costing Punk the victory.
Do you think we get a triple threat at Bad Blood?
I wouldn't mind that being the Hell in a Cell. Instead of it being Drew versus Punk in Hell in a Cell, they do a triple threat Hell in a Cell with all three guys.
Okay.
I
think we're definitely going to get a triple threat. For me, I just don't see a world where Punk loses on his return singles match, personally.
The only thing I don't see is I don't see a world where CM Punk comes out unscathed out of this rivalry.
Oh, I mean, that's for sure. He's definitely not going to be unscathed. That's true. That's definitely true, And Seth Rollins being in there adds another layer because he hates both of them. Hates Punk IRL and hates Drew in storyline. So there's a lot of layers there to that.
It is. I'm very interested in the result of this matchup now that we're on different pages as far as who we think is going to win, but that makes me more interested in what's going to happen. The real winner is
us, seeing Seth Rollins in his referee costume.
He said it's going to be more outrageous than what he was wearing on Monday. Did you see the sleeves on that?
This man is going to be sweating in that thing. He needs to come out in a crop top.
You got to have the Shawn Michaels shorts underneath the leather pants.
Exactly.
Exactly. And it's an open roof too. It's going to be warm. Is it going to rain in Cleveland? I've been hearing that.
It's supposed to rain all weekend except for Saturday night. So we're going to pray that it stays that way.
For real. I don't want to see who is it? Pat McAfee or Corey Graves being Joe in a poncho at WrestleMania 37.
Oh, it's like, please. It's supposed to rain all weekend except for Saturday night as of now. So like if it stays that way, fine. It's just like, ugh.
I'm praying. IVB says, in my opinion, if Punk didn't get injured, he would have feuded with Seth, but this turned out much better. Yeah. It all worked out in the end because now you can do the Seth and Punk matchup, like I said, at WrestleMania, and you got a whole 6-month rivalry going into SummerSlam, your second biggest show of the year with Drew and Punk. And it feels like Drew has really elevated himself throughout this rivalry as well.
I agree.
And then you got the two big title matches on Saturday, LJ. You got Damian Priest defending the World Heavyweight Championship against the King of the Ring General, Gunther. And they have done, I want to give WWE 100% credit for this because I was down on this matchup when it looked like it was going to happen after Gunther won the King of the Ring, but they have done a superb job of making it more than just a World Heavyweight Championship matchup. Gunther's heel work has been great, to the point that me, who's been shooting in the gym when he was Fat Walter, and I was sweating in a New York City gym in 2017, watching him slap fire out of Matt Riddle in Evolve in Progress, I have had times in this rivalry where I'm like, I don't like you. Because you're calling him street trash. You're calling a Puerto Rican from Brooklyn street trash. Come on, man. You've gone too far. They did a great job of getting heat on Gunther and making this a difference of class, of Damian Priest, who started from the bottom. Now he's here and he's come up and become the World Heavyweight Champion, while Gunther is of a different class. He's of the high class and always had everything handed to him, always had the best gyms, has been a part of this sport because of the dignity for the sport. It wasn't his dream. He just wanted to dominate professional wrestling and bring prestige to different titles, like he did the Intercontinental title. He wants to do that to the World Heavyweight Championship, and he has talked down to Damian Priest, and Damian Priest has responded by becoming more of the Puerto Rican badass and a baby face before our eyes, and gotten more over throughout this build up to this matchup here. So who do you think goes over on Saturday and walks out the World Heavyweight Champion? And what have you thought about this difference of class, this classism rivalry between Gunther and Priest?
This one, for me, is the most blatant, obvious one, but it's because if you're looking ahead, Bash in Berlin, Europe, right? You know, in Gunther territory, that is right around the corner. It is time for Gunther to elevate himself to the next level and get his WWE World Heavyweight Championship reign. And then he can walk in Bash in Berlin on his home turf, continent of Europe, with the championship, to an ovation. He'll still be heel, but they'll cheer him. Let's be real.
Yeah.
That what a perfect way to bring in Gunther into Bash in Berlin with the World Heavyweight Championship. Damian Priest has definitely exceeded what I thought he would do for his reign, and I give him kudos. He proved that he was more than just a transition. I mean, he kind of was a transitional champion, but 4 months, can you argue, is it a transitional champ? I don't know. Yes and no. He definitely did the most that he could with this reign, and there was a lot of different storylines going on. We also saw a change in character of him being a little bit more honorable, unlike his Judgment Day counterparts. So we've seen a little bit of a character change for Damian too. And so he's had a great run, but it unfortunately is time to usher in the reign of the Ring General Gunther ahead of Bash in Berlin. And then he can walk in, maybe they have a rematch or they do something else. But again, much like Punk, I don't see a world where Gunther doesn't walk into Bash in Berlin with the title on his back.
I kind of agree with you on this one, because like I said, I've been shooting in the Gunther gym since 2017. Yeah. I've been a fan of this guy before he even signed with WWE. And it's similar with Damian Priest. I saw a lot of his coming up on the independent scene, especially over here on the East Coast, being from New York. I saw him in Ring of Honor and all the big shows, and saw him as Punishment Martinez. And he's come such a long way, and he has improved so much throughout his time in WWE. And I would love for him to kind of put a capper on his World Heavyweight Championship reign, because the one thing he hasn't been able to achieve is getting a clean title defense win. So it would be great if he got it here against the biggest challenge to date as World Heavyweight Champion. But I'm sorry, it is time for the King of the Ring General, Gunther, to become the World Heavyweight Champion. And I'm not saying that with 100% confidence. Like I said, I have 100% confidence Braun Breaker is going to win the Intercontinental title. I don't have 100% confidence here, because it could be a situation where Triple H says, "Oh yeah, SummerSlam is big, but we have so many other things going on. People are going to pay attention to the main event and stuff. So I want to stretch this out, and I'm going to give you the victory in Berlin. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have you lose here by nefarious means, and then you're going to win the title in Germany." He could say that.
As long as Gunther doesn't lose cleanly here, then I'm okay with them doing a rematch at Bash in Berlin. If he loses cleanly here, then it's like, well, then what did you do to deserve a rematch then, you know? So as
Fair.
long as is it, I mean, I would like Damien, of course, to get a clean win, but if you're booking towards a rematch, Gunther losing clean, not really a good look right before he's gonna win that title in Bash in Berlin. So
I agree.
that's why I'm like, Gunther can win it here, and then they could do a rematch where Damien gets a rematch clause, you know, afterwards. I think that's how they do the rematch then. But
That's also fair. But yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna go with the Gunta for the win. We got in the chat here. Chasey says, I've been debating back and forward on this. I have to go with Gunta. I gotta establish the king and queen of the ring. And if Naya is losing here, then you have to get Gunther to win. I got both king and queen of the ring winning at the pay-per-view. I'm trying to put over the king and queen.
But
She's like, I'm going with one, but not the other. I make B says long-term storytelling. Yeah. Triple H, we gotta say it's up there. It's up there. There's an option. But finally, we got the main event of the show. The American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, will defend the undisputed WWE Championship against Solo Sikoa, the tribal chief of the bloodline. This one has been building pretty much since after WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes beating Roman Reigns, ending his 1,300-day plus reign as undisputed WWE Universal Champion. Cody has been on a roll as champion, defeating AJ Styles in a Match of the Year candidate in France, then in an I Quit match at Clash at the Castle. In between there, beating Logan Paul. After his victory in the I Quit match against AJ Styles, it was Solo Sikoa who confronted him, and Solo has been building himself up way before then. Immediately after WrestleMania, Solo really took charge of the bloodline by taking out his own brother Jimmy Uso, introducing Tama Tonga to the team, then Tonga Loa at Backlash when him and Tama Tonga defeated Randy Orton and Kevin Owens. And then the big element was after Clash at the Castle and his confrontation with Cody Rhodes. He then introduced Jacob Fatu, the enforcer of the bloodline, who took out Cody, took out Randy Orton, and took out Kevin Owens to set up a trios matchup at Money in the Bank, where Solo Sikoa pinned Cody Rhodes. On the road to Money in the Bank, Solo also took out the wise man, Paul Heyman, in one of the best segments of the year in Madison Square Garden. So the bloodline was under full Solo control. He established himself as the tribal chief, basically disowned Roman Reigns, said that Roman Reigns let him down by letting Cody Rhodes win the undisputed WWE Championship at WrestleMania. And now is his time to win back the title that belongs to his family. And Cody once said that Solo wasn't ready, but then he admitted on this past week's Friday Night SmackDown that he just might be ready, and we'll see what he has to say to him on SmackDown on Friday. But what have you thought about the build to this matchup, and who walks out undisputed WWE champion? And then the extra question is, will Roman Reigns return on Saturday?
The build, you know, makes perfect sense to this. You know, Cody has had a long history with the bloodline, you know, so has Orton because the Usos took him out, so has Kevin Owens. So the build to this makes perfect sense, you know, chronologically, dramatically. You know, Solo is taking over the reins while Roman Reigns is out. You know, he's acting tribal chief. You know, it's going to lead to Roman returning. To me, though, this is not a SummerSlam main event. This is like maybe a Bash in Berlin main event, or a SmackDown main event, whatever. To me, this is not the main event of your second biggest show of the year. Unless, and I'm saying this begrudgingly because I am a resident Roman Reigns hater, the only way this makes it a true main event is if Roman Reigns shows up afterward. Then okay, it's but that's assuming Solo loses, which I am assuming he is. I don't see him beating Cody. After Solo loses, then Roman showing up to regain his throne and showing Solo, oh, you thought you could step up in my absence? You couldn't, could you? I'm now here to take back my throne and all of that. I am digging it too. Just to me, this is not main event caliber of a SummerSlam to me personally, unless Roman Reigns shows up afterwards. Then okay, then you got the big players in there. Personally, I thought you could have done Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes here in Orton turning, but I guess it just wasn't time for that story yet, which is fine.
Yeah.
Cody retains, but for me, again, the only way this makes this a true main event is if Roman shows up afterwards, after Solo loses, and then gives him the shaking my head, crossing his arms and shaking his head. That's the only way for me it's a true main event.
Yeah, this was what I was kind of leading or hinting at when I talked about earlier when you said, you were talking about Seth Rollins' outfit going into the Drew and Punk, and I said there was another match where I don't hear any of the talk from the fans being about the match. All the talk about Cody versus Solo is about Roman Reigns potentially returning.
Exactly.
Like, no, I agree with you. This does not feel, they did not do the right steps to make this feel like a SummerSlam main event. The fact that Solo Sikoa has only beaten Kevin Owens one-on-one since WrestleMania. That's the only person he's beaten one-on-one. He hasn't lost one-on-one.
He was on a losing, like a 34-35 match losing streak before that.
Exactly. Before WrestleMania, he's on like a 30-match losing streak. After he beat John Cena last November, he went on a 30-match losing streak from there. He was losing to Jey Uso before WrestleMania. Now you expect me to believe because he got some backup that he's the tribal chief, that he's the guy that's going to dethrone Cody Rhodes. I was like, the one thing they could have done is have him beat Randy Orton one-on-one. Like, even if it's by cheating, if he had beaten Orton one-on-one, and I understand they're trying to still kind of save Orton's losses for when he does eventually turn on Cody and feud with Cody, but you could have had Solo, by help of Jacob Fatu and the Bloodline, beat Randy Orton, so then he can stand on that. He can stand on that one victory of, I beat the 14-time world champion. I'm ready to beat Cody Rhodes. And people would believe it more instead of people worrying about what's going to happen after the second bell more than what's going to happen after the first bell, which it seems like most fans are talking about. I do agree with you. Cody Rhodes gets the victory here. And I also agree, Roman Reigns returns after the matchup. You get Cody winning, probably with 3 crossroads. Then Jacob Fatu, Tonga Loa jump Cody. Cody's getting beaten down. Solo's about to give him the Samoan spike. And then you hear the dun, dun, dun. And then Roman Reigns coming out. Or you get Paul Heyman coming out and saying, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce the real tribal chief, Roman Reigns.
Petty Heyman. Petty Paul. I'm here for it.
Petty, I want Paul and Roman to return at the same time. Maybe you can even throw Jimmy Uso in there. I've heard people say that too. Maybe we get a Jimmy Uso return. All the ghosts of the Bloodlines past come back at the end of SummerSlam to set the stage for the fall, where I think on SmackDown, the major 2 stories is going to be the Bloodline Civil War and Cody and Orton.
I just want to say I am very sad that there's a low chance that I'm going to be hearing voices because Randy's got beat down a couple weeks ago. I don't even know if he's going to be in Cody's corner. I wanted to hear voices. It's not going to happen.
Cody's all alone.
I've been robbed.
You could have sang it with what is it going to be? 60,000 in Cleveland Brown Stadium?
I know.
Robbed you.
I was robbed.
We do have a super chat donation from the one and only Chilling with Chase. Thank you so much, Chase, for the huge super chat donation. He says, at SummerSlam 2020, our tribal chief returned and he saved us and raised the industry.
I don't know about that.
He said $24 for the year of 2024, the return of the true tribal chief. You don't know about that? Roman was the one that elevated pandemic wrestling.
I've been watching. I'm just saying, like I said, I've been the resident Roman Reigns hater for the longest time. However, in this instance, I understand we need Roman back to really elevate this main event, and I agree with that. So in this case, I will support the return of the tribal chief, the real tribal chief.
Can you put your one up?
Just on this occasion, because this to me is not a main event.
Longtime LJ fans better screenshot that. She put the one up. She put the one up for Roman.
It's actually
Longtime Roman Reigns hater LJ put the one up. That's the headline on Fightful.com. We got also in the chat another super chat donation from Will Chisholm. Thank you so much, Will. He says, so who's after Randy when the Cody stuff is over? Is it the final boss? Yeah, I think that the Randy Cody stuff probably runs through the end of the year. Yeah,
Rumble, Survivor Series, maybe one of those. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like Bad Blood, you got to give Cody the big matchup there because it's in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. And then probably he ends the feud at Survivor Series with Randy. He can find some, Royal Rumble, you can pretty much give him anyone. That's what Royal Rumble's known for. You could just give them anybody on the roster, whoever you see fit. And then the final
Carmelo
boss.
Hayes. We deserve Cody versus Carmelo again, but for the title.
I would not mind that. I would not mind that. Honestly, my prediction earlier this year is that Cody won't be the WWE champion by the Royal Rumble. I think that The Rock returns and beats him for the title on the debut on Netflix.
The
debut on Netflix.
Netflix, wow, okay.
And that sets up WrestleMania where Cody can win his third straight Royal Rumble and become the record breaker. No one has ever won 3 straight Royal Rumbles. Cody wins the Royal Rumble to set up Cody and Rock at WrestleMania 41.
Oh, but then it okay. I love Cody, but then it just feels like what's the word? A consolation prize for him to win the Rumble. It feels like Drew. It feels like the Money in the Bank thing. Like it's not, it's like you could have done without it to further the story. Just like Cody doesn't, like Drew didn't need Money in the Bank. Cody doesn't need a third Rumble win to get back to.
But who's gonna win the men's Royal Rumble? Because I think that the World Heavyweight Championship matchup at WrestleMania needs to be Gunther versus John Cena. John Cena don't need to win another Royal Rumble.
We are still what, 5 months out?
This is true.
We're still 5-6 months out. So 6 months out. So things could change for all we know.
It's true. Someone else can get over, and Triple H says, Brock, we're not going to do that matchup at WrestleMania 41. We're not going to do it anymore. Mm-hmm. But we also got LeVay, who sends a super chat donation. Thank you so much, LeVay. You guys are awesome. Seth, thanks for showing some love in the chat. Thanks for showing some love with the super chat donations. We also got I Make Beats, one of our Patreon backers. He says, I hated The Rock as a kid, but he was too cool, so he won me over. And then the same thing happened earlier this year. I think the final boss was like, I still think that segment with The Rock, Rock and Cody in the Rain is one of my all-time favorite segments in WWE history. I love
when he stepped aside for The Rock.
No, in the rain. In the rain, when he beat him up, and he said, "Look at the boy now, Mama Rose."
Yeah.
One of my favorite segments.
I heard in the ring. Sorry, not in the ring.
No. It's in the ring. In the ring, not the ring. not him passing over. No.
Yeah.
But I want to thank Ella J for joining me today for our SummerSlam 2024 preview. I had so much fun talking about it. I know you got a busy weekend ahead, so let everybody know where they can follow you on social media, how you'll keep them up to date with everything going on in Cleveland, Ohio, where they can see your written work, your podcast work, your vlogs, your interviews, everything in between. The floor is yours.
That's a lot of work. Easiest way to follow me is here on Twitter. I don't call it that other thing. Twitter.com/it's Ella J. I'll be going to Cleveland. I still have to pack. I leave in about 15 hours for Cleveland. So that's going to be a tough thing to do tonight, but I'm super excited. If you're in town, you see me around, I'll be at the Superstore throughout the weekend. I'll obviously be at SummerSlam. I'll be at some of the community events. I'll be doing media and all of that. Easiest way to stay updated on that is to follow me on Twitter @it's Ella J. My link in my bio there has links to all my projects, podcasts, and writing all in one convenient place for you.
Indeed. Go over and support Ella J, one of the best in the media game, doing her thing. Good shout here by Carl, who says CM Punk is winning the Rumble. That would be so WWE to do the thing they should have done this year.
Yeah.
Next year.
Imagine they didn't. Imagine they did though, and then
he gets injured.
Yeah.
Knowing Punk though, he would have made it to WrestleMania, and they would have been like, We know you're hurt, but you can make it to WrestleMania.
I mean,
right?
Rollins did it. Her
Exactly.
So fire, yeah.
I could totally see that. We got a bunch of other comments. Keep coming with the comments in the comment section below. If you're watching us on demand, we got Chilling with Chase. He says, have fun, LJ, at SummerSlam for sure. And remember to like this video, share this video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family, and hit the subscribe button and the bell to stay notified. We got a whole bunch of great content. I'll be back here live tomorrow, 1:05 p.m. Eastern time with AE Ramble, our AEW Dynamite review, where Jimmy Macaron will give his thoughts on Shane McMahon meeting with Tony Khan. And before we wrap up, I do want to ask you, LJ, what did you think about the picture that is running wild all over social media with Tony Khan and Shane McMahon meeting privately in Arlington?
My first thought was, this is a stage. They leaked this themselves, because Tony's face was, and Shane was just like, it looked like the fake mad, and then Tony was just like fake surprised. It probably. It's probably, I mean, most of us, I think that, AEW leaked it themselves, which is probably true. But that's a cool, kind of crossover thing. And it makes you think, what could Shane do? You had some good ideas of, Shane joining the Elite. That would make sense. He is kind of authority in his blood, so that would make sense. Would Shane be a face? Would he be a heel? There's so many things they could do with him. But I like the idea of him being in cahoots with the Elite. Personally, I think that would be the biggest bang for your buck if you were to bring in Shane McMahon. Wrestling wise, though, I don't know. Would he be would he just be like a manager, non-wrestling role, or would he be like a Jeff Jarrett who kind of like does everything? I don't know. But there's a lot of angles you could do.
They got to do Darby versus Shane McMahon.
Oh yeah. Who can?
And they got to do Kenny.
Yeah.
They got to do Kenny Omega versus Shane McMahon, the best bout machine versus the best in the world.
Oh my God.
It writes itself. Go over to the Twitter machine where I'll be making more jokes about Shane McMahon and AEW at True Hill SP3. Follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Hill Heat, and patreon.com/True Hill Heat. Best place to support us when we are not live here. But thank you so much to everyone who joined us live. Thank you so much if you're watching us on demand. Thank you so much to Ella J. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been our WWE SummerSlam 2024 preview. We are signing off until next time.